Ahead on the CFL Report, the highlights from Week 18. The Rough Riders East and West. It's a matter of pride at Taylor Field in Regina. And in profile, Edmonton slotback Marco Sincar. TSN CFL Report. It's our game around here, brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Brewery. Twilight in Regina, Saskatchewan. Taylor Field, Regina. The Rough Riders meet the Rough Riders. The CFL Report is live from Saskatchewan tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm John Wells, along with Leif Patterson, a homecoming for two ex-Saskatchewan football players and broadcasters back to about 1974 when you first arrived here. Lots of pleasant memories from this ballpark, Leif.
John, there really are, and of course you began your career. I began my career here, and it's so much fun to come back every year and see all the good friends that both you and I made. In fact, before the game, I had the chance to go down and sit with General Manager Bill Baker, Alan Ford, and Steve Mazurek, who was a receiver here many years ago, and four of us kind of hashed out the problems of the league and settled everything, but really fun to come back and see Saskatchewan and be a part of their football fever here.
You know, one of the great things about this is a football town, as you mentioned all those names, but so many Saskatchewan Rough Riders still live in Regina, and quite a few are involved with the organization as well.
Well, I think everyone knows it's a wonderful city to bring up a family, and I think guys that have played here over the years have found that and decided to stay. They blend into the community so nicely, and the community accepts them so nicely, and I think that's been the biggest part of Saskatchewan football all throughout the years.
Despite the losing season the Rough Riders are having and missing the playoffs once more, there's a lot of hope in Saskatchewan these days. We'll get more on that a little bit later, but right now, Peter Watts and the CFL Notebook.
The 1987 Shenley Awards will be handed out November 26th in Vancouver. The Football Reporters of Canada will decide who wins the 5 awards, and while you don't get a vote, you're still entitled to an opinion on who you think should win. So am I, for that matter, and here are my choices. There is only one pick for Rookie of the Year. Gil Fenerty has been the big play performer all season for the Toronto Argonauts. He has 15 touchdowns this season, 1/3 of the Toronto total. For Canadian Player of the Year, Toronto linebacker Don Moen has never been nominated for a Shenley. Now in his 6th season with the Argos, the UBC grad has played every single game. And in a league that rotates talent like you and I change socks, that is a considerable achievement. Dave Ridgway was let go by Saskatchewan at the end of last season, but after brief stops in Edmonton and Montreal, he wound up back at Taylor Field. Some weeks, Ridgway has been all the offense the green and white have had. Starting this week's games, he's number 3 in league scoring with 159 points. 2 names stand out in my mind for Defensive Player of the Year. Tyrone Jones of Winnipeg has been the league's Defensive Player of the Week twice this season. He spends a good part of each game putting big heat on opposing quarterbacks. He also has a couple of fumble recoveries and has scored 1 touchdown. In Regina, Bobby Jurison has piled up a club record 20 sacks this season. The Rider defense has played better than its 5-10-1 record suggests. Jurison has been the leader of that defense. Roger Aldag played 11 years in the CFL before winning the Outstanding Lineman Award. He'll get some votes this year as well, but I like Chris Walby of the Bombers, who hasn't missed a game this season. And Walby is a big reason why Willard Reeves leads the CFL in rushing once again. Walby is a 2-time winner of Lineman of the Week honors. And from Calgary comes center Bob Poley. He missed 4 games early in the season, but he's been a steadying influence ever since. An 11-year veteran, Poley has never won a Shenley. Like his old teammate Aldag, Poley is due. And then there's the Most Outstanding Player Award. Brian Kelly will get a lot of votes, and deservedly so. 3 new CFL records now begin with his name. Number 70 of Edmonton has had the best year of his 10-year career. He has 11 touchdowns and almost 1,500 yards in receiving. And if he wins, no one can argue he doesn't deserve the honor. But I think the man who will win will be Winnipeg's Tom Clements. Coming off a career-threatening injury last year, Clements has been brilliant at the controls of a talent-laden Bomber attack. He needs 1 touchdown pass to tie Jack Jacobs' club record for touchdown passes in a season, a record set 35 years ago. My choices, no more informed than yours, and just as likely to be wrong as right. We'll find out who wins November 26th, and picking the winners should be just as much fun as applauding the final results. I'm Peter Watts, that's CFL Notebook.
Thanks, Peter. We'll find out exactly how close you are with the 35th Shenley Awards live on TSN Thursday, November the 26th. Roger Aldag, a winner last year as the top offensive lineman in Canadian football. 32 minutes to kick off now, and a haunting Halloween moon at Taylor Field, Regina. There should be a few strange faces in the crowd at Taylor Field tonight as we move ever closer to the kickoff between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Ottawa Roughriders in Regina, Saskatchewan tonight. Welcome back to the CFL Report, live from Taylor Field, Regina. Joe Paupow will quarterback the Ottawa Roughriders tonight, his third start of the season. No stranger to the fans at Taylor Field in Regina. Paupow spent 3 seasons in the green and white Roughrider uniform. We'll get more with Lee Pedersen picking the Week 19 winners just a little later on the CFL Report. But right now, let's take you back to Week 18 and look at the highlights and the big plays.
The Hamilton defense set the tone early. First quarter, Howard Fields intercepts Joe Paupow. Fields returns at 60 yards and spots the Tiger Cats to a quick 10-0 lead. Hamilton held Ottawa to just 134 total yards. The Ticats intercepted Ottawa quarterbacks twice and came through with 5 sacks. This by Grover Covington. Hamilton led 14-2 after 3 quarters and put the game on ice with a pair of touchdowns in the fourth. Ken Hobart for Steve Stapler. And the Tiger Cats come away easy victors, 28-2 over Ottawa. A pair of afternoon games Sunday, the first, Winnipeg and Edmonton to take on the slumping Eskimos. With Edmonton leading 7-0 in the first, Trevor Kennard's field goal attempt falls slightly short. Henry Williams at the goal line. And what a return. 111 yards later, the Gizmo has his 5th kick return touchdown of the season, and the Eskimos are out in front, 14-0. Lester Brown started in place of the injured Willard Reeves. A nice 16-yard run late in the second quarter cut Edmonton's lead to 22-17 at the half. But the Eskimos blew it wide open, 24 unanswered points in the third quarter. Chris Skinner a swing pass and rambling 29 yards to the end zone. Edmonton on to trample the Bombers 49-24. And the final game of Week 18, BC at McMahon in Calgary to battle the Stampeders at stake second place in the West. A surprisingly low-scoring first half. J.T. Hayes' 43-yard field goal gave Calgary a slim 6-5 edge at the intermission. Freddie Sims put the Lions back on top with a pair of touchdowns in the third quarter. The Oklahoma grad takes a pass from Roy DeWalt and finds the end zone from 24 yards away. The Lions move in front 19-6. And one more in the final quarter. This time, Ray Krause doing the honors with a 9-yard burst up the middle. BC stays tied with Edmonton for first in the West, courtesy of a 32-12 win over Calgary. So to the standings, the playoff spots are all spoken for. Final order of finish is still up for grabs. In the West, BC and Edmonton, even at the top, battling for home field in the playoffs. Calgary at 500, 8 wins, 8 losses. And in the East, the Bombers and the Argos in a showdown for first. Into the final 2 weeks, Winnipeg leads by a point. Hamilton can do no better than third.
That Eskimo victory sets up 2 great races. In the East, it'll be Winnipeg and Toronto this weekend. In the West, Edmonton and BC. 26 minutes to kick off now. The Rough Riders and the Rough Riders live from Taylor Field in Regina. Right now, more on Eskimo slotback Marco Sinkar.
Thanks, John. When you talk about consistency and dependability in the Canadian Football League, number 27, Marco Sinkar of the Eskimos, is a perfect example of those 2 words. Marco is closing in on his 8th season in the CFL.
In a hurry and don't allow him to.
Sinkar hasn't missed a game now in close to 4 seasons. This year, stats-wise, could be his best ever. The 29-year-old is a native Edmontonian. He doesn't live far from the area he grew up in.
You know, I never really dreamed of being a professional football player. I always liked playing it, but you know, I think when you're young, you always think, geez, there's something out there for me. And you never, I don't think I always ever put, you know, all your eggs in one basket and say, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I think when you're young, you know, you want to do everything.
Good time for Dunnigan. He picks up Marco Sincar, and Sincar is hauled.
You know, playing football, you know, some people look on you and they think that, you know, geez, a football player, and that gives you a title, and all of a sudden it makes you important, you know. But I think there's, you know, people that do other things that make less money that are very important.
Marco already has a science degree and is working towards another. He says he may go into dentistry when he's finished football. But right now, he's just enjoying playing a game for a living.
You know, I'm just fortunate that I can do something for a while that I really enjoy, and, you know, the money's good. You know, I get more than 2 weeks off a year for vacation, and, you know, there's so many other things I can do just because of my job. You know, we watch films, we have meetings, and, you know, I look at other people and they're putting in, you know, honest 8 hours a day of work. A day, and you know, 2 weeks off holidays a year, and, you know, we get 6 months off, and it gives you an opportunity maybe to, you know, start another career or have another job. So, you know, it's pretty good, and, you know, we get paid well. We work hard, I think. You know, it's all physical labor, and, you know, there's a lot of stress put on us. You know, you've got to perform. People pay to see you do well, and you know, that's a tough part of it. But the lifestyle's great, and, you know, we're doing something we really like.
The common consensus around the CFL is the better teams are the ones with the best Canadian players. The Eskimos, when you look back at their history, they've always had some great Canadian players. When you look at the last 8 seasons with Marco Sincar, his name also has to be included in that list. Ken Chulabak for the CFL Report in Edmonton.
Thanks, Ken. Still ahead, TSN's Canadian Player of the Week from Week 18, and Leif Patterson. Hopes for a better week. Live from Taylorfield, Regina, this is the CFL Report on TSN. Halloween's tomorrow night. We'll get an early start this evening at Taylorfield in Regina. Glad you could join us for the CFL Report live from Taylorfield and on TSN this evening. Well, we'll look ahead to kickoff time about 18 minutes away from now. Still ahead, a closer look at both teams. But right now, let's take you back to Week 18 and the Canadian Stars who shine. This week's runner-up, Saskatchewan slotback Ray Elgard. Elgard has become somewhat of a regular in this segment. Against the Argonauts, the 4-year veteran from Utah caught 7 passes for 121 yards, more than half of the Rough Riders' total offense. TSN's outstanding Canadian for Week 18 is BC slotback Jan Karinci. In a must-win game against Calgary, the 6-year veteran from the University of Maryland came through with 5 catches for 64 yards. Karinci also made key blocks to lead the way for his teammates. Slotback Jan Karinci of the Lions, TSN's outstanding Canadian from Week 18.
Pass is caught. He is putting the ball on the money, and the receiver.
Coming up on TSN live from Taylorfield, Regina, the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Saskatchewan Rough Riders is the 3rd meeting between these 2 teams so far this season, and Saskatchewan has won the previous 2. For a closer look at both teams, we have 2 reports tonight, beginning with Saskatchewan's Jeff Courier.
Thanks, John. The fall chill in the air in Saskatchewan tells us the playoffs are coming. It's that time of year when the top 6 teams in the CFL battle it out to see which will win the Grey Cup.
This has been the scene for 10 years in Saskatchewan. The Rough Riders throwing in the towel. They'll miss the playoffs again this year, a record 11th straight season out of postseason play. But this year the players say it's different.
Last year there was a few guys in the locker room that didn't want to win, and they're gone now. The guys that are here now are the guys that want to win.
Yeah, we just feel this year we're a whole different team. The fact that there's games early in the season we felt we should have won, but we didn't. The fact that we're out of the playoffs again, it's an empty feeling to us in the dressing room, but it's a matter of the positive aspect of this year's team with Coach Gregory. He's a real players coach, and you want to play for the man and you want to win for the man. I just feel like this year compared to last year, just no comparison.
The Rough Riders face Ottawa, the league's other non-playoff team, in a game which will have little effect on the final standings. It's a game which won't attract the same sort of interest as the battles for first place, but to the Western Riders, the game has meaning.
I think this team is going to play a tough football game this week for the simple fact that there were a lot of games we played this year that we could have won, and we could easily be in contention for a playoff spot. And these guys have a lot of pride, and I think they're going to go out and play tough for these next 2 games.
Head coach John Gregory has made it clear that he will not use this game to experiment with his roster or his playbook. Gregory took over this year knowing it would take more than 1 season to build a winner. Victories have been scarce, and there have been many days of frustration. But recent wins over BC and last year's Grey Cup teams, Hamilton and Edmonton, have given the Riders new hope and some reason to keep working hard. It also helps the players to know that most of them will be back next season.
We're a very tight team unit, and even though we're at the playoff picture, no one likes to lose. We're going to try like we tried the first game of the season. We're going to play the last 2 just like it was the first game of the season, like we're in a playoff contention. We're building for next year. We want to do some good things before the season ends, and I think there will be no lack of effort out in the field the last 2 games.
No, we're not going to throw in the towel. We're going to come out fighting, and we're going to try and score some points. We're going to try and score a lot of points and be impressive and give our fans something, good to look forward to and to have a nice winter and look forward to next year.
Rough Rider fans have suffered through another losing season, but at least they know they're getting an honest effort. And for a change, they won't see their team throw in the towel before the season's over. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Jeff. Joining us on the sidelines now, Rough Rider head coach John Gregory. John, with the playoffs out of your reach, what do you hope to prove with this football club tonight?
Well, I think it's important to our football players and our fans that we go out and play a very hard football game and not worry about the playoffs. Let's just go out and win this game and go on into next season with a good feeling.
How has the team responded after last week's loss to Toronto?
Really good. This has been an outstanding bunch of people to work with this year. They've when disaster has struck, they've risen up and showed a lot of character, and I expect them to show character tonight and next week as well.
Okay, John, thank you very much. Good luck tonight. Will this be the week the Ottawa Rough Riders snap out of their horrible losing streak? The Eastern Rough Riders are long overdue. More on that story from Michael Whalen.
Well, John, if there ever was a meaningless game on paper, this is it between the 2 Rough Rider teams. However, I don't think either one of them is looking at it that way at all. In fact, just the opposite with the Ottawa Rough Riders. They really need some kind of positive accomplishment.
They'd like nothing better than to beat Saskatchewan tonight. Ottawa's offensive line had a horrendous time of it last week against Hamilton. The Rough Riders had little passing attack and scarcely any running attack. But they've put that game behind them, say the Ottawa coaches, and they're set to take advantage of the Roughies.
They do some things with coverage as far as disguising some of their blitzes or showing blitz and not blitzing that if you read it at the right time, you have a chance to make a big play. And it's just a matter of working at it on the field, and hopefully we see, the look that we need to see and make the right call at the right time or be in the right play at the right situation. So some things that they do coverage-wise, we're going to try to exploit.
It seems that every time Ottawa is set to take 1 step forward, they end up taking 2 steps backwards. For instance, just as quarterback Todd Dillon was starting to lead the team, he got injured. Now arthroscopic surgery has sidelined Dillon for the rest of the season. Look to ex-Saskatchewan player Joe Powpow to do most of the quarterbacking chores against his old team. In spite of the miseries that have befallen Ottawa in this 87 season, one area that has remained relatively constant has been the defense. But because the team ends up in the loss column week after week, their work goes largely unnoticed.
Early in the year we were playing pretty decently, and we got a series of injuries that really decimated us. We had new people playing every week, and we were playing out of position and changing defenses and so forth. And in the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've been able to get some people back in and get a little continuity. And so the last couple of weeks, I think it showed that the players are still playing with some enthusiasm.
They are going to need some of that fervor tonight against Saskatchewan. Under Kent Austin, the Roughies have a well-balanced attack. Not knowing if he's going to pass or run puts particular pressure on the defensive backs.
Unlike the quarterbacks at Hamilton, you know when Hobart's in there, he's going to run the ball, and Kerrigan's in there, he's going to throw the ball so you can play specific things against him. This guy, you know, it's pretty much situational. You check down and distance, and you make the calls from there.
13 straight losses is a miserable record, but despite it, Ottawa coaches are hopeful of a turnaround.
Yeah, I'm optimistic, and I think that any game that you go into, you got a chance to win. And if you provide your players with enough knowledge and enough weapons that they can go out and execute and get it done, then yeah, you have a chance to win any game in this league at any time.
Thank you, Michael. Ottawa head coach Fred Glick joins me now. And Fred, I have to ask the question, is this going to be the night that the Rough Riders snap out of it?
Well, John, I hope so. We've been a long time coming, and although we've played a lot of good games, we've been close. We haven't done that magical thing to get over the hoop and come out on the winning side, but I think our guys have a good attitude. They're ready to get out there and give it a good try tonight, and we just hope tonight things go our way and we come out with that first win.
Your situation at quarterback, do you feel pretty confident that Joe Pow can do it for you?
Well, I think we feel more comfortable than last week. We kind of had to insert Joe about the middle of the week after Todd's knee gave out on him, and so we basically put more offense in that Joe can handle a little bit better, and so I think he'll handle it a lot better than we did last week.
Okay, good luck tonight, Fred. You're definitely due.
Well, tonight's the night, John.
All right, thank you very much. So is Leif Pettersson do. 0 for 4 last week. Leafs picks for Week 19 in just a moment. Welcome back to the CFL Report, live from Taylor Field in Regina. 11 minutes to kick off. The Rough Riders and the Rough Riders tonight. Canada's leading football prognosticator went right down the drain last week. Leif Pettersson was 0 for 4. I think I might have talked you into a Rough Rider victory over Toronto last week. But I mean, record has now dropped to 41-22.
66%. Now, that's not too bad. Give me a break. I got to get the knife out here. You've been throwing a knife at me all week. Listen, 66% is not bad. I listened to you, Saskatchewan, and of course I played here, and I went with them, and it cost me. I'm never listening to you again.
But would you listen to me about the Eskimos? No, no, no.
Well, it's nice. They know you out in Edmonton now.
Let's go to Week 19 and look at the matchups this week. The battle of third-place teams comes up on Saturday with Calgary and Hamilton getting together, and that one will be in Tiger Cat Stadium in Iberwin.
You know, it's nice to see Hamilton play well last week against Ottawa. They needed a victory badly, and they played pretty well. Calgary's got to make the trip. You know, this is do or die for Calgary, because if they have any aspirations of finishing second, they have to beat Hamilton. But they're in tough at Iberwin Stadium.
You don't like the Stampeders' chances this weekend? You're calling it fairly close.
Well, I think, as you can see, the X's are all pretty even. Actually, the edge in those categories goes to Calgary, but I think at home Hamilton's going to get the second win for head coach Ted Schmitz.
All right, a big one coming up at Winnipeg Stadium with the Toronto Argonauts, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The battle is for first place in the Eastern Division, first of a home-and-home series.
Well, I think this is going to be probably one of the best games of the week, and unfortunately for the Bombers, they got some key guys out. Bastaya, Willard Reeves, and James Murphy won't play, but still, Winnipeg's going to win it.
All right, you like the Blue Bombers in this one, and the Bombers always tough on home field, no matter who's in town. Another battle for the playoffs shapes up with the BC Lions and the Edmonton Eskimos getting together at Commonwealth on Sunday afternoon.
It's going to be a great game. Battle for first place in the Western Conference, and I think Edmonton showed last week they have a renewed enthusiasm, and I think they're going to be very tough.
You're going with the Eskimos this week.
Oh, I hate to do it. I hate to do it, but I'm going
Eskimos down the right side will take the BC Lions out at Commonwealth Stadium, according to Leif Pettersson. Just time for a quick thought about our game here tonight. Ottawa Rough Riders, Saskatchewan Rough Riders. The Riders are going to win, but which one?
Well, I think the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. You know, I've taken a lot of heat not picking Saskatchewan this year. I give them X's all the way down the right side. They're going to win it. Fred Glick, he said he wanted to win tonight. Not a chance, Fred. You got 13 in a row it's going to be.
All right, it has been that kind of a year for the Ottawa Rough Riders. We'll see how they do against the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Coming right up, it is TSN CFL Game of the Week, and we're live from Taylor Field, Regina. The CFL Report on TSN. It's our game around here. Brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Brewery.